Hello. Hello, Anu. Hello. Anu. Hello. Hello, Anu. Are you able to hear me and see the presentation as well? Hello. Anu. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
You are able to hear me, right, Anu?
Yes.
And are you able to see the presentation as well?
Yes, sir.
Perfect, great. So we'll start. Sorry for late. It was just the setting up of this new system which is coming up and in a way getting stabilized over here in the chapter. So to begin with, we are on the topic of strategic performance management and business valuation, which is the it's a paper 20A, which is about strategic performance management and business evaluation, and we are on module 2. So I guess you have been attending, and we have been, sorry, yeah. So in that module 1, which is constituting 10%, just to recap, we have finished with, and performance measurement evaluation, which is the subject that we module 2 that we have picked up now, and which is comprising of almost 15%, that is 15 marks questions will be coming from this module. And in this module there are almost 10 concepts which we are trying to cover. 4 concepts in the previous 2 sessions, that is lecture number 5 and 6, I have already completed with in the previous 2 sessions, and today we will take up the 5th and 6th concept, which is about statistical quality control and plan, do, check, action, so SQC and PDCA. So again, as we know, these are all performance measurement, evaluation and improvement tools. So over a period of time, businesses have felt the necessity to measure the performances not just by way of profits measurements or profitability analysis only, but there are other angles which are coming into criticality from the business organization point of view, and hence with that intent, organizations and various what you can say experts in these domains have come up with various evaluation techniques, and which are now slowly getting settled and considered to be management techniques for performance evaluation of the corporates. So with that background, there are 2 methods which we are going to understand today, which is about statistical quality control and plan, do, check and action. So these are the 4 steps in a way, or 4 concepts. So to begin with, what is SQC in short, which is statistical quality control. So a brief overview or introduction that I will make of the SQC, and as I have mentioned in my earlier sessions as well, the reference material that I have used is predominantly, and that's my belief also, is predominantly the study material that has been provided by the Institute of Cost and Works Accountants of India. It's a beautiful study material compilation, and even industry professionals also continue to follow and refer to the institute's material from time to time. Well crafted, well drafted, well organized study material, I would say. And though from background I am a chartered accountant and a company secretary, for other academic purpose as well as professional purposes, I keep referring to our institute's material, study material also from time to time. not just for academic purposes like for taking this session, but also for implementation at the client's place, and in a way it turns out to be a guiding factor for us. So what my humble submission will be, for examination purposes, it's better to refer to the study material always. Try and solve all the examples and problems that have been given at the end of each and every chapter or module, for that matter, whatever the case may be. And also, while your studies are going on, try to understand and solve how the examples have been or problems have been solved in the study material. That itself is a big study and will give you a confidence on the various concepts that are there. The theory part I am trying to cover in the sessions that have been scheduled by the institute also. So to begin with, let's understand what is SQC. So Michael E. Portal, one of the management guru, in 1985 wrote a book on competitive advantage. He introduced a paradigm shift in the business strategies over a period of time by emphasizing sustainable competitive advantage. So slowly the focus of profitability was getting sidelined or at the back burner, and different dimensions of businesses and business environments were coming into play. So a big shift from in the business strategies, which are the subsets of the vision and mission statements of the corporates, happened, whereby the emphasis started happening on the sustainable competitive advantage. So all three words have a big significant meaning, I would say. Sustainability is something which is perpetual, long term. Competitive means typically better than the competition in that business environment in which you are functioning, and advantage is something making the most benefit out of it, of being sustainably competitive. So that's what he propagated, or rather he introduced this paradigm shift in that book on competitive advantage. In that book he precisely highlights that organization must align their strategies with their mission and vision statements. So first and foremost is just not that the business organization should start whatever way by a profit mindedness only. There has to be necessarily a vision and mission for the organization, a vision statement and mission statement, which will be the guiding, directing force for the entire organization as such, right from the top management till the last person in that organization. And from the vision and mission statement emanates the business strategies. So organization must align the strategies, whatever the business strategies, corporate strategy. So there are three levels of strategies typically: corporate strategy, business strategy, and functional strategy. So all these three must be aligned with the vision and mission statement of the organization. So over there, Michael Porter identified three key strategies for competitive advantage. Now how I can sustain and gain an advantage over my competition, for which he identified that these three key strategies or focus areas. When we say strategy, it means focus areas, or areas where the actionables has to be focused and directed towards by the entire organization. So these three key strategies revolved around cost leadership. Secondly, differentiation with the differentiation in comparison to the competitors, and focus are the three dimensions of this competitive advantage which Michael Porter identified. So differentiation strategy focuses on delivering a unique, high quality product with faster reach to the customers. So the classic example of differentiation strategy would be in the space of mobile phones, would be the Apple, right, Anu? So Apple is a classic example of showing the differentiation in the mobile market as a product. So it's a high quality product delivering a uniqueness in its own way in terms of touch, feel, the sensitivity of the screen, the feel, UI, UX, user interface, user experience are like entirely classy and different from the rest of the Android mobiles. So that's clearly the differentiation strategy which has been adopted by Apple as a business organization, I would say. At the same time, this while maintaining this uniqueness and high quality product, they have ensured that it is reaching out to the customers very fast. So the penetration of their of the market has been also achieved. Just because they are pricey, that doesn't mean the average customers are not willing or aspiring to have iPhones or Apple phones for that matter. So in a way, the differentiation strategy has focused on delivering a unique high quality product with a faster penetration or reach to the customers. So in this book itself on competitive advantage, the role of quality is highlighted, how quality can turn out to and give a competitive advantage to the organization. So quality plays a crucial role in creating sustainable competitive advantage and superior performance also. So again, the Apple is a classic example for the quality aspect and the customer and superior performance of the product. So this is how the differentiation strategy, in which the three aspects which are to be considered predominantly: cost leadership, differentiation and focus. In differentiation strategy, uniqueness and quality and reach to the customers, faster reach to the customer plays an important role. In that, quality plays a superior role, creating sustainable competitive advantage and superior performance. So let's understand what is meant by quality. Definition of quality would be features and characteristics that meet customer expectations at the time of purchase and during use also. So this is more important, during use also. So once the product has been procured, they are not left, the customers are not left on their own. The organization who is selling the product or the manufacturer has to ensure that they are with the customer all while during the use also. So this is what it means. So features and characteristics that meet customer expectations at the time of purchase as well as during the use is what is expected and is the definition of quality. So benefits of focusing on quality, let's understand. Enhances expertise in production. So in a way, because the focus is on quality, there has to be a enhanced expertise you gain in production of that particular product also. So that's how the focus are always there. Thereby the production process, in a way, the efficiency gets achieved and the organization achieves expertise in the production of that kind of a high quality product. So second benefit which is there because of the quality is the reduction in the cost of providing the product service. So slow and steadily, there is always the focus on the cost reduction aspect. As much as possible, how much cost can be reduced over a period of time is what the another benefit is when the focus is on the quality. So while the quality is being maintained, how to reduce costs, that's the focus always maintained by the organizations, or and thereby gain a expertise in production. Third benefit is increasing the customer satisfaction. So because value for money is expected by the customer, and because he is willing to pay that much of amount for that kind of a quality, customer satisfaction level increases all while or remains at the peak or remains maintained till the use and death of the product also. So till the end of the cycle, product cycle, the customer is always satisfied because of the focus on the quality. And fourth important is it leads to higher future revenue generations also. Obviously, the quality will have a major contributory factor in the maintaining the revenues that are being earned by the organization on sale of such products. So these are the four benefits of focusing on quality. Now let's understand the 8 dimensions of quality. So another gentleman, David A. Garvin, way back in 1987, identified there are 8 dimensions of quality. It's just not about the material which is being used, or the raw material which is being used, or the components that are being used for the manufacturing of this product. There are 8 various dimensions which can help measure the quality. So he felt there are not just about raw material cost only, which is the quality or maintenance key aspect, but there are other 8 dimensions. So let's understand what are those 8 dimensions. First is the performance of that product. Primary operating characteristics of a product has is also a key contributor, and that's what again to help you understand this dimension of quality, I will give an example of Apple only, or for that matter for Android users, Samsung. So Samsung also is striving all while maintaining the performance of their mobiles. Then comes the second is the features. So additional characteristics beyond the primary function. So just not having, so the UI, user interface and user experience has to be kept enhanced. So lot of every next version of the mobile keep on adding some kind of a additional feature in the product. Reliability. So probability of product failure over a time is very minimal in such kind of a is one of the dimension of quality. So reliability means once we buy this kind of a product, there is hardly any maintenance that is required to ensure that the product continues to perform as expected. So that is reliability. So in a way the customer is at peace of mind after having bought the product, that the performance will be continuous, sustainable and consistent. So that's about reliability. Then comes the fourth dimension, which is conformance. Conformance means meeting specifications and standard. So the product has to meet the expectations of the customers and should be standardized. So in a way, leaving the ambiguity in the product is very critical. It has to conform with the expectations that average customer is likely to expect from that particular product, and thereby ensuring and meeting those specifications and standards as expected by the customer. So 4 dimensions is about conformance. 5th dimension is about durability. So the lifespan of the product before replacement is needed. So reasonable durability of a product has to be there. The lifespan of the product should not be short-lived. It should be reasonably well before any replacement is needed. So that's durability. 6th item or 6th dimension is about serviceability. Serviceability means ease and speed of repairing and maintenance of that particular product. So that is serviceability. 7th aspect is about aesthetics. Aesthetics includes subjective appeal, that is UI, user interface and user experience, looks, feel, sound, etc. And 8th dimension is about reputation, that is the brand perception based on past performance and trust. So over a period, just to continue with the analogy of mobile as a product, the brand perception is very essential, or a 8th dimension of the quality. So as simple as that, if at all it's a Samsung product or an Apple product, the customer is rest assured about the performance, because there is a legacy and a well established past track record about performance and trust in that particular brand. So even people then venture out that yes, my mobile phone of a particular company is very well up to my expectations and satisfying all the rest of the 7 dimensions. That branded companies, other products are also being bought by the customers. So for example, Samsung TVs. Okay, people are willing to buy Samsung TV because the brand reputation that has got established because of the experience of mobile phone is like beyond any comparability, and hence same with Apple also. So even people are going for Apple TV, iPhones, iPads, etc. All iPods also for that matter. So all Apple related ones, because the mobile phone and the quality and the 8 dimensions of quality are ensured by the Apple. Any blind reliance is also put on the brand reputation, and any other product of the similar brand, same brand, not similar brand, same brand are picked up by the customers happily because the trust and confidence has got built up. So these are the 8 dimensions of quality established or propagated by David Garvin way back in 1987 to repeat its performance, features, reliability, conformance, durability, serviceability, aesthetics and reputation also. Then let's understand this concept of quality control process. So yes, we have seen by now how quality is so important, and hence there has to be some control mechanisms and processes to be followed. And what are those 2 dimensions? Ensures actual performance meets preset standards. That's about quality control. And second dimension is that the deviations beyond tolerance require corrective actions. So up to a particular tolerable limit, the deviations are acceptable, but beyond a point, it is a need to have a corrective actions to curtail the deviations below the tolerable limits. So that's what it means in terms of quality control process, because without quality, without control, no process can work on a sustainable basis. So these are the 2 key quality control process aspects. Ensuring actual performance keep on meeting the preset standards. So actual performance has to continue as what is standardized and expected or budgeted. And secondly, if at all there are any variations or variance is getting is arising, then it should not go beyond tolerable limits as said by the organization. And in that case, if at all it is going beyond the tolerable limits, then there is an immediate need of corrective actions in the entire quality focus. So that's what the quality control process means. So moving ahead, let's now deep dive into SQC and overview, statistical quality control. How statistics can help in bringing in quality control is what statistical quality control is. So definition wise, SQC involves statistical techniques used in quality control. So in a way, statistics means, as we know, as we see the pattern and the behavior of a particular variable or a data set for that matter, which gives insights in terms of how a particular aspect should be viewed. So quality wise is in SQC, statistical analysis help to control the quality also. The first use which happened, early use was first noted in 1907, that is when AT&T began systematic inspection and testing. So AT&T, which is a popular telephony company in US, brought in a concept of systematic inspection and testing way back in 1907, and that's how it is said to be the emergence of statistical quality control. The key contributions for this SQC concept was, so 1907 it was AT&T who brought this, began with the systematic inspection and testing, and thereafter in 1908 W.S. Gossett introduced the tea distribution based at his work at Guinness Brewery. So in the breweries industry, the tea distribution based statistical method was being used in quality control. Then comes in 1924, W.A. Schwartz introduced the control chart at the Bell Laboratories. So Bell is another reputed company in US, and in that W.A. Schwartz, one of the associate or employee of Bell Laboratories, or what you can say researcher in Bell Laboratories, introduced this control charts, which became a key component of SQC, that is statistical quality control. So in 1931, say 7 years later, Schwartz published Economic Control of Quality of Manufactured Product, formalizing statistical methods for production. So statistics started getting rampantly used or got well accepted in the production techniques also. So production became so statistical techniques in production became prevalent, thereby improving the quality. So As an overview of SQC, what is the purpose of SQC? SQC applies probability and sampling techniques to maintain quality standards at minimal cost. So this is the purpose of SQC, wherein the two statistical techniques, especially the probability and sampling techniques, are applied, whereby quality standards are maintained at minimal cost. So the same quality is achieved by minimizing the cost. You don't have to spend much to maintain that kind of a quality. That's what it means. It can be done at a minimal cost also. Let's understand now further deep dive of SQC. The elements of SQC, one is the sample inspection. 100% inspection ensures quality. No doubt, the quality will be ensured and assured to the outer world. 100% if at all inspection happens of each and every product. But eventually this 100% inspection turns out to be very costly and time consuming. Some products perish with inspection, making full inspection impractical. So at times handling of products at the time of inspection may perish the product itself, thereby making the full inspection impractical. But SQC allows random sampling for inspection. So that's what the leeway has been there in SQC, wherein random sampling can be technique can be used for inspection. So the second element of SQC is the statistical techniques. SQC involves applying statistical tools for quality control. Third element is the fundamental objective. So it helps determine if processes and products are within control or deviating from specifications. So over here the perspective is that to identify if the processes and products that have been set by the organization are well within the control of the process or the organization, or is it deviating from the specifications or the standards that have been set by the organization. So this is the fundamental objective of the SQC. Then comes the fourth element of SQC, which is about decision making. Over here the SQC assists management in making decisions on out of control products or processes within tolerable limits or tolerance limits. So management in a way, because of this SQC, is able to take decisions on out of control products. So those products which are turning out to be or going beyond out of control of the management, in a way SQC helps to identify those kind of products or processes also within tolerance limits. So if at all the tolerance limits that would have been set for the products or the processes are turning out to or going beyond out of control of these tolerance limits, then management is able to take decisions about whether to continue with those kind of products or those kind of processes, because they are in a way going out of control, and predominantly because they are above tolerance limits. So thereby SQC assists management in decision making process is the fourth element of SQC. Now let's understand the benefits of SQC. So SQC over here in a way helps in assisting the management in reduction of product defects, lowering labor and material cost. Another benefit is about minimizing the wastage, scrap and pollution. So it removes the impurities in that in the product, and thereby in the removing the wastage in the process, scrap and pollution. So that's the benefit of SQC. Another benefit which is SQC is obviously ensuring consistent quality over the period of time. So over longer periods the quality consistency is maintained by SQC with the help of SQC. Then comes reduction of inspection is in needs. So because of the statistical way of mechanisms of achieving quality control, the management is able to reduce the inspections that is required to ensure 100% inspection. Thus, there is a reduction in the maintenance cost of the product also. Of course, SQC is all about quality and it's definitely going to enhance the customer satisfaction. Another benefit which is there is about it boosts the employee motivation and quality awareness. So obviously the employees are then sensitive towards maintaining the quality and striving for that. So there is always a motivation, not just focusing on the quantity but also to maintain the quality. And last and important benefit is obviously because it's all about quality, cost and control related. It improves productivity and overall efficiency in the production process of the organization. So these are the benefits of adopting statistical quality control as a performance management, measurement, evaluation and implementation tool. Moving ahead, let's understand the techniques of how SQC can be implemented. So SQC, there are SQC techniques are classified into two groups. Statistical process control, that is SPC, wherein use of control charts to check if a process stays within the predetermined parameters or not. And second is the acceptance sampling, wherein the focus is all on inspecting products to determine their quality. So these are the two techniques of SQC, and again the benefits are there of having those two processes, predominantly statistical process control, wherein use of control charts is done to check if a process stays within the predetermined parameters. So in a way, because it is about process itself, so whether the process is under control or not, through statistical techniques the checking happens, whereby the analysis analysis is done whether the process is within the predetermined parameters or not. Then comes the second process, which is about acceptance sampling. Over here in this method or in this SQC technique, focus is on inspecting products to determine their quality. So this is what the two categories of SQC techniques are. Now let's understand each of them. SPC first. So the techniques of SQC as a diagrammatic presentation is in this way. The first is about process control and second is about product control. So these are the two focus areas of the quality control or SQC per se, product and process. So process control is achieved through control charts. So control charts for two variables and control charts for attributes. So control charts for variables and control chart for attributes is the focus of the SQC technique, wherein process control is mentioned. Then comes the product control. Over here the technique is about acceptance sampling, and acceptance sampling for variables and acceptance sampling for attributes. So these are again the two dimensions which are used. So in product control, the SQC technique that is used is about acceptance sampling, and in process control the technique which is used by SQC is about the control charts. And in both the cases the control charts or acceptance sampling is specifically identified for the variables as well as for the attributes. So now let's deep dive more into the SPC, that is statistical process control. Definition: a process transforms inputs into outputs. So in a way, what is process? Process is a chain of activities wherein inputs are transformed into outputs, whether it's about a process for products or process for services. So that's the definition of a process. A process means transformation from input into output, either in case of products or in case of services. There are two types of processes: stable process and unstable process. Stable process is only common causes of variation affect output, that is in statistical control, and unstable process is both assignable and common causes affect output of control, out of control. So that's what stable process is all about and unstable process is all about. Now SPC typically uses statistical techniques to maintain process control. And what are those major SPC tools? Histogram, check sheet, Pareto chart, cause and effect diagram, process flow diagram, scatter diagram, control charts. Key tool introduced by W.H. Schwebart in 1924 was control chart as a process control SQC technique. So now let's understand what is meant by control charts. So control charts, in a way, a key tool in statistical process control introduced by W.H. Schwebart in 1924, used in industrial processes to differentiate acceptable or chance variation from assignable variation. So control charts are based on sampling and probability theory. Graphical presentation, typically a graph wherein x-axis is the sample number and y-axis represents or plots quality characteristics measured using mean and standard deviation. Basic components of control chart. So there is a center line which is a reference line representing the average value of the data. Then there is the upper control limit, which is the maximum acceptable variation, which can go up to maximum, and lower control limit, which is the minimum acceptable variation. So these are the three parameters within which, or the range within which, the process control can at the most move around. So center line, which is the average value, upper control line, which is the maximum acceptable variation, and lower control limit, which is the minimum acceptable variation. So this is about control charts, basic components of control chart. Now let's understand what is meant by acceptance sampling. So acceptance sampling is the SQC technique used for product control, a type of statistical quality control applied to products known as acceptance sampling. The history of it is, it was popularized by Dodge and Romig during World War II while testing bullets. So bullet as a product, if at all, has to be tested because it is very critical in the world war or wars itself, because war are won based on bullets only. So quality wise, there was a requirement to have a 100% inspection, which would leave no products or no bullets for use, while no inspection could result in failures. In short, every bullet is required to be tested, is what in a way this acceptance sampling highlights. Sorry. Sorry, I forgot to switch off the mobile. So it was this particular acceptance sampling was popularized by Dodge and Roming during World War II while testing bullets. 100% inspection would leave no products for use, while no inspection would result in failures. Solution was random sampling from a batch to decide if the entire lot should be accepted or rejected. So lot acceptance sampling, that's what it means. So let's say a particular batch of production is of a product is manufactured, then by way of picking up random samples from that batch to decide if that entire lot is acceptable or to be rejected. So that is called as lot acceptance sampling. The purpose of acceptance sampling is a compromise between full inspection and no inspection. So instead of being bipolar and inspect fully or not to inspect at all, in a way it's a via media to get some kind of a control or assurance about the product by having adopted acceptance sampling as a statistical quality control. The types over here is acceptance sampling for attributes, that is qualitative evaluation, and acceptance sampling for variables, that means quantitative evaluation. So these are the two attributes whereby acceptance sampling is done for product control. The key consideration: acceptance sampling does not assess product quality but helps determine if a lot is acceptable. So in a way, in that sample there is no specific assessment of the quality as such, but it helps to determine if the entire lot is acceptable by selecting few samples from that lot. So when is such acceptance sampling is applicable? When testing is destructive. Now let's take the example of bullets only. If 100% inspection of bullets is to be done, it would be insane to try each and every bullet, because thereafter that testing will be obviously destructive. 100% inspection is too costly, because then in that case the entire bullet inventory itself will become futile, because 100% inspection has occurred. Full inspection takes no too long period. So that's why the sampling of a batch from the big lot or a bigger population of product. So with this we conclude the statistical quality control as a whole concept. At the end of the session we will do the entire recap of SQC along with the new concept that we are now elaborately learning, which is plan, do, check, action, in short called as PDCA. P stands for plan, D stands for do, C stands for check, and A stands for action. So the two gentlemen Schwartz cycle and Deming's wheel, these are the two concepts in this PDCA. In 1939, Dr. Schwartz introduced the Schwartz cycle in his book, later edited by W. Edwards Deming. So these were the two gentlemen who wrote the book, or who are key contributors to the book way back in 1939. In 1950, Deming modified it into Deming wheel. Schwartz's view on mass production cycle was three-dimensional, which is specification, formulating a hypothesis, production, conducting an experiment, and inspection, which means testing the hypothesis. So these were the three dimensions which were considered by Schwartz in the mass production cycle. So as a diagrammatic presentation, PDCA Schwartz cycle is in this pattern: specification, inspection, production, all three in a cyclical manner should be considered rather than linear. It is a cyclical because it's about mass production cycle. So there is no starting point, but yes, in specification means formulating a hypothesis, production means conducting an experiment, and inspection means testing the hypothesis. So this is what in a way a method to measure the performance of a product or a process also, especially the production cycle, is what propagated by Schwartz. And this is how it looks like, the cycle of Schwartz: specification, production, and inspection. Then as we saw, the book which was written by Schwartz was modified by Edwards Deming, W. Edwards Deming, modified the Schwartz cycle at a seminar on statistical quality control. So while attending or addressing to a seminar in SQC, Deming felt that there was a need to modify the Schwartz cycle, and he introduced in a way Deming's production cycle, which is a 4-step: design, produce, sell, and redesign based on market research. So these are the two key aspects of or distinctions of Schwartz production cycle and Deming's production cycle. In 1951, Japanese renamed it with the Deming wheel. Deming wheel was a recast name of Sheward cycle. Now let's see how this looks like. So obviously design is the starting step, then comes production, then comes sales, and then comes the pre-design and redesign and research. So if we see typically a mobile kind of a product or cars as a product, they go through this cycle only, Deming cycle only. First designing happens, then the production uh, starts of that particular product. Then obviously the sales have to take place so as to really, that's the purpose of the business, why the production is being done. And after sales, keep on reinventing, redesigning the product, existing product, keep on researching on the existing product, so that new versions and upgraded versions can be introduced over there in the market, is what Deming cycle propagates. So the Deming cycle or the Deming wheel is commonly known as the PDCA cycle in literature. So IMAI suggested that the PDCA cycle was a practical adaptation of the Deming wheel. PDCA, that is Plan, Do, Check, Act, is an application oriented model derived from Deming wheel. So Deming wheel propagates design in production, sales and redesign, and so this is something which is directional or theory, whereas PDCA typically gives you actionable to the Deming wheel. So comparison of PDCA and Deming wheel is shown in the following table. So because Deming wheel is based on the Sheward's cycle, so let's have a comparison of PDCA and the Deming cycle now. So design, as we saw, it's a planning wherein product design resembles the planning phase. Then comes the next step or in the cycle is about production, that is about do. So production resembles the doing as per the product design. Sales, which is the check or equivalent to check, sales figures is similar to checking on customer satisfaction. So that is sales. So the matter of fact that the product is getting sold in a way is the indication that customer is satisfied with the product and hence is willing to pay money to buy that product. So sales is a check in the entire product control process or Deming wheel or PDCA wheel. The fourth aspect, which is research and action, in this case, in case of a complaint being filed, it has to be incorporated into the planning phase and the action taken for the next round of effort. So whatever learnings which are happening from the existing production or product inspection or acceptance sampling, etc., all those statistical quality control, there has to be some actionable in terms of any errors or complaints that have been received or being filed or being found by the organization or by the customers on behalf of the organization. So that fourth step is about research or actions. So in this PDCA cycle, in a way, plan means design, do means produce, check means sales as an indicator, and A means action, which is about research and action. So that is also another field which is important and dimension which is necessary in PDCA cycle. So this is the comparison of or the differences. There is no difference if you see. Planning means designing, doing means production, checking means sales, and actioning means research. So this is how the cycle, PDCA cycle looks like. Starting is the act, then plan. So first, starting is not the act, the starting phase is the plan, then goes do, means to do, then comes checking, and then comes the action. So let's understand each component now of the PDCA cycle. Plan means to establish the objectives and processes necessary to deliver results in accordance with the specifications. So this is where the ideation of a particular business or a product or a process emerges or emanates. So plan, establish the objectives and processes necessary to deliver results in accordance with the specifications. Then comes do, that is D, implement the processes. Then comes C, that is check. So monitor and evaluate the processes and results as agent objectives and specification and report the outcome. So this is the checking stage. Then comes the action stage, which so that is act stands for A, or A stands for act. To apply actions to the outcome for necessary improvement, that means reviewing all steps, that is the prior steps than action, which includes plan, do, check and act also, and modifying the process to improve it before its implementation. That's what the purpose of having this PDCA cycle is all about. Then another dimension which is there is about the plan, do, check, action. That is also part of PDCA, but that C gets replaced with S. So S is about study. So just to highlight, there was a typo. I thought I'll just change it immediately. So as a part of PDCA only, there is this check that gets replaced by study. So in short, it is called as PDSA. Yeah, so PDSA. So PDCA cycle evolved into PDSA cycle, its immediate successor. So 1986, Deming introduced the PDSA cycle as a Shewhart cycle for learning and improvement. The key difference, I'll turn it to PowerPoint mode. Yeah. So the key difference over here is that S, that is the study aspect, replaces the C, that is the check aspect, emphasizing analyzing results and dissecting the learning process. So check means it's just not checking, it's about studying or learning from that analysis about the results, and also dissecting the learning process entirely followed in the PDCA cycle. So therefore PDCA got replaced with PDSA. So check was replaced by study. So study involves seriousness towards looking at a particular result or a aspect, and it's just not about checking the quality etc. aspects. Study involves checking as well as learning out of that, checking whatever observations would have been found. So that's where the PDSA was introduced as Shewhart cycle for learning and improvement. So in a way we are done with these two concepts, but before that let's recap both the concepts in a quick way. So this is where we started off for the two. Now what remains are the another 4 components of this module. So in the next 2 sessions we'll be finishing I'll take 2 concepts in the next session, and then further 2 concepts in the one more session thereafter, with which we will be able to complete the module 2 also, and thereby almost 10 marks of module 1 and 15 marks of module 2 coaching or helping you understand these concepts will get completed. So we are in a way having completed out of 10 6 concepts, so we are almost halfway in module 2. To recap, we studied what is meant by SQC, wherein Michael Porter for the first time in his book on competitive advantage introduced this paradigm shift in the business strategy by emphasizing sustainable competitive advantage, wherein organizations must align strategies with their mission and vision statement, need or emphasis was made. Porter identified three key strategies for competitive advantage. One was the cost leadership, second was differentiation, and third was focus. Over here, the cost leadership obviously is always focusing on cost reduction, cost alternatives, choice of cost, etc., or cost cutting for that matter. So all that is achieved through cost leadership. Differentiation as a strategy focuses on delivering a unique, high quality product with faster reach to the customers. That is the differentiation strategy. And focus as a strategy gives you where to zero down all the efforts of the organization is the focus strategy. So let's understand or recap the role of quality in competitive advantage. Quality plays a crucial role in creating sustainable competitive advantage and superior performance also. Definition of quality obviously includes features and characteristics that meet customers' expectations at the time of purchase and during use also. So during the entire life tenure of that particular product, the features and characters must keep on meeting the customer expectations. The definition is about that. Then comes the benefits of focusing on quality. First, enhances expertise in production because you keep on improving and focusing on the quality only, thereby gain expertise. So classic example of any talent also, let's say a classical singer, he keeps on focusing on the quality, how better I can sing, how better I can sing, how better I can sing. So because the focus is on the quality, it in a way, what you can say, the practice happens, and hence that kind of a gaining of expertise can be achieved in production in terms of manufacturing process also because of the focus on quality. Second benefit is about the reduction in cost of providing the product and service. Third is about increasing the customer satisfaction, and fourth is leads to higher future revenues. Then David A. Garvin in 1987, say around 2 years later, introduced 8 dimensions of quality, which being performance, wherein the primary operating characteristics of a product is performance. Features includes additional characteristics beyond the primary function. Reliability is about probability of product failure over time. Conformance is about meeting specifications and standards. Durability is about the lifespan of the product before replacement is needed. Serviceability is about ease and speed of maintenance and repair. Aesthetics is about the user interface, user experience, and subjective appeal, looks, feel, sound, etc. Reputation includes brand perception based on past performance and trust, that is legacy. Another dimension of SQC is the quality control process, whereby ensuring actual performance meets the preset standards that have been fixed for the product for maintaining the quality. And second aspect is about deviations beyond tolerance requires corrective action. So if at all there is a variance or divergence from the set standards, then how much tolerable limits are there? If the deviations are within the tolerable limits, then yes, it is an acceptable deviation. If it is beyond tolerance, then these deviations are not acceptable deviations, and for such deviations or the reasons of deviations needs to be identified and corrective actions are required to be taken. Let's have a quick review or overview of SQC. Definitions: statistical quality control involves statistical techniques used in quality control. Early use was found in 1907 when AT&T began systematic inspection and testing of their product. The key contributions were made in 1908 by W.S. Gossett introducing the T-distribution, which is a statistical tool based on his work at Guinness Brewery. In 1924, W.S. Sheward introduced the control chart at the Bell Laboratories, another dimension to the SQC. And the third contribution was in 1931 when Sheward published Economic Control of Quality of Manufactured Product, formalizing statistical methods for production. So production was now statistical driven. Purpose of SQC was to apply probability and sampling techniques to maintain quality standards at a very minimal cost. Now let's understand the elements of SQC. Obviously, sample selection wherein 100% inspection ensures quality but is costly and time consuming. Some products perish with inspection, making full inspection impractical. SQC allows random sampling for inspection. Statistical techniques in SQC involves applying statistical tools for quality control. So statistical techniques is a key element of SQC. The fundamental objective of SQC is to help determine if processes and products are within control or deviating from specifications. So that's the whole purpose of SQC. And of course, the key element of SQC is to help the entire process of decision making, thereby assisting management to decide on out of control products or processes if they go beyond the tolerable limits. The benefits of SQC are reduces product costs, product defects, lowering labor, material costs, minimizing wastage, scrap and pollution or the noise which is there in the quality, ensures consistent quality over longer period, reduces inspection needs, lowering maintenance cost, enhances customer satisfaction, boosts employee motivation and quality awareness, and last but not the least, the importance of SQC is that it improves productivity and overall efficiency also of the product and the processes also of the organization. The two what you can say branches of or techniques of SQC are SPC, that is statistical process control, wherein they use control charts to check if a process stays within predetermined parameters, and then another dimension or another SQC technique is about acceptance sampling. So focusing on inspecting products to determine their quality. So this is the diagrammatic presentation of what exactly these SQC techniques means. SQC techniques involve process control which use control charts as a tool, and the product control which use acceptance sampling as a tool or as a SQC control or technique. In control charts, there is a control chart for variables and then there is a control chart for attributes also. Similarly, there is a acceptance sampling for variables and then there is a acceptance sampling for attributes also. So let's understand what is SPC, statistical control, quality control, process control. Definition of process: transform inputs into outputs in terms of products as well as services. Stable versus unstable process. So stable process, only common causes of variation affect output in statistical control, and unstable process, both assignable and common causes affect output out of control. So SPC, that is statistical process control, uses statistical techniques to maintain process control, and major SPC tools which are used by organizations for performance measurement or performance evaluation or performance improvement in terms of statistical process control are histogram, check sheet, Pareto chart, cause and effect diagram, process flow diagram, scatter diagram, and control charts. In control charts, the key tool introduced by control chart was a key tool introduced by W.A. Sheward in 1924. So then comes the control charts. Let's see what exactly out of the rest of the 7 SQC process control techniques, the control charts are the key. It is a key tool in statistical process control introduced by W.A. Sheward way back in 1924, used predominantly in industrial processes because industrial revolution was happening around that period. So industrial processes to differentiate acceptable chances of variation from assignable variation. So this was the focus or a key tool in SPC control charts, thereby differentiating the acceptable variation from assignable variation. So control charts are based on sampling and product probability theory. Graphical representation wise, on x-axis it will be the sample number and on y-axis it will be the quality characteristics measured using mean and standard deviation. The basic components of a control chart includes center line, which is the reference line presenting the average value, and upper control limit is the UCL, which is the maximum acceptable variation, and lower control limit, that is LCL, is the minimum acceptable variation. So upper and lower control limit in a way sets the range within which the control can deviate from the center line. Then comes the acceptance sampling, which is a key SQC technique for product control. A type of SQC applied to products known as acceptance sampling. To understand the history, it got popularized by Dodge and Roming during World War II while testing bullets. 100% inspection would leave no products for use, while no inspection could result in failures. Obviously, it's a double-edged kind of a sword, wherein a balancing act has to be done in terms of how many products to be inspected rather than having no inspection at all. So the solution is random sampling from a batch to decide if the entire lot should be accepted or rejected, which is called as lot acceptance sampling. So that is another technique or a tool which is used in acceptance sampling. Then comes the purpose of acceptance sampling. Acceptance sampling is a compromise between full inspection and no inspection. So instead of being polarized that either you do full or you don't do it inspection, in a way this helps as a via media or a better option rather than entirely negating the or following the full inspection or negating the entire inspection itself. The types over here is acceptance sampling for attributes, which includes qualitative evaluation, and acceptance sampling for variables, which includes or which means quantitative evaluation. Over here in this aspect, the key consideration is always that AS does not assess product quality but helps determine if a lot is acceptable or not. So it doesn't assure 100% product quality, but at least it helps in identifying that a particular lot is acceptable or not. So it is applicable when testing is destructive, when 100% inspection is too costly, and thirdly when full inspection is going to take a longer period or duration before the product is marketable or put to use. So when these three aspects are there, that eventually the testing is going to be destructive, or 100% inspection is going to turn costly, or full inspection is going to take longer time, and then in that situation for product control, acceptance sampling is used as a statistical quality control technique. That's what it means. So with this having done with SQC, then we saw in the entire session the PDCA, that is plan, do, check, action cycle. Over here there were two concepts which came into play. One is the Shewhart cycle and another one is the Deming wheel. In 1939, Dr. Shewhart introduced the Shewhart cycle in his book, later edited by W. Edwards Deming. So 1950, Deming modified it into the Deming wheel. So he added a few more dimensions to the Shewhart cycle, whereby Shewart's view on mass production cycle included specification, wherein formulation is a hypothesis, formulating a hypothesis, production, which means conducting an experiment, and third is the inspection, which means testing the hypothesis. So this is how the diagrammatic representation of Shewhart cycle is. First is the product specification, then according to the specification the production, then whatever has been produced, whether it has got produced in accordance to the specifications or not, is the process of inspection. And with these three, the Shewhart cycle was being followed. So Deming, as we saw, improved upon the Shewhart cycle. So in 1950, W. Edwards Deming modified the Shewhart cycle in a seminar on SQC, wherein Deming's production cycle included 4 steps. So 4 steps of a product includes design, produce, sell and redesign based on market search or market research. In 1951, Japanese renamed Sheward cycle in the Deming wheel. So Sheward cycle was in a way overshadowed by Deming wheel. So diagrammatic presentation of Deming wheel is like this: design, produce, sale, and then redesign, research of a particular product. That's what is meant in the Deming cycle as a acceptance sampling or another tool for performance measurement, evaluation and improvement tool, which is called as a PDCA cycle. So let's understand what is meant by PDCA. So the Deming wheel is commonly known as the PDCA cycle in literature. IMAI suggested that PDCA cycle was a practical adaptation of Deming wheel. PDCA, which means plan, do, check, act, is an application oriented model derived from the Deming wheel, and comparison of PDCA and Deming wheel is shown in the following table. So just to have a comparative analysis about the two methods, let's understand what they mean. Ideally both are one and the same. It's just a different perspective at which the process is looked at. So design means obviously planning. The product design resembles the planning phase. Then comes the production, that is do, the actionable, wherein production resembles the doing as per the product design. Sales, which means checking. So the matter of fact that a particular product is getting sold means the design and the production has got checked. So sales figure is similar to checking on customer satisfaction. And fourth important aspect is research or action. In case of a complaint or a error being found or filed, it has to be incorporated into the planning phase and action taken for the next round of effort. So whatever learnings upon taking action will lead to research of the entire product control process. That's why research is essential in a way for action. So this is how the diagrammatic representation of the PDCA cycle is: plan, do, check and act. So let's understand each component. Plan obviously means establishing the objectives and processes necessary to deliver results in accordance with the specifications. Do means D, that is implementing the processes. Actionable per se, do what has been decided in the process, so implement the process. Plan is think about the process. Check is monitor and evaluate the processes and results as agent objectives and specifications and report the outcome. And then A, which is about act, that means apply actions to the outcome for necessary improvement. That means reviewing all steps, which includes plan, do, check, act, and modifying the process to improve it before its next implementation. Obviously there was a need to relook at the PDCA cycle also. So PDCA cycle got evolved into PDSA cycle, its immediate successor. Now what is this PDSA? In 1986, Deming introduced the PDSA cycle as the Sheward cycle for learning and improvement. So a dimension got changed wherein it's not just merely checking, it's about studying. So study replaced check, so S replaced C, emphasizing analyzing the results and dissecting the entire learning process. So that's what the whole today's session content is all about, SQC and PDCA. So in a way we will conclude for the today's session. Anu and Rakesh, if you have any queries, then maybe you can ask me right now, or else we can end the session.
Sir, I have.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I have one question. Can we get this PPTs for reference?
I will, maybe you can check with the chapter, because
Okay.
I have not yet been told specifically whether I can share them on the group. But yes, it's a material for your own benefit only, and the reference material is the study material. So I don't foresee any copyright or any other stuff kind of there are obviously sections which are to large extent like the tables or the charts or the processes that I am showing out over here, the diagrammatic presentation are from the study material itself. And of course this is a session of the Pimpri chapter of the institute. So you can just check with Deepa ma'am, who is the coordinator for you. If she is okay with this, I can share it on the group that we have. I have no issues about it. It's for you, your benefit only.
You sharing, sorry, we referring the study material instead of that. These PPTs are quite helpful, so we can have a quick revision if you refer these, and
I think
it will be handy
absolutely.
for us.
With that intent only, from examination orientation point of view only, I have prepared this study material or the PPTs.
Yeah.
It can be a easy reference, ready reckoner kind of for your examinations.
Yeah.
And it will help you. I am damn sure that it will help you to write the answers, because the way the PPTs have been drafted, it is absolutely in consonance with the syllabus, and hence it can be handy note for you undoubtedly. But in terms of about answering to your question, whether I can share it on the WhatsApp or not, you can just check with Deepa ma'am, and if Deepa ma'am confirms to me that I can share, I will immediately do so once the module gets over. So module 1 is already over. I can immediately share it on the WhatsApp group if Deepa ma'am, who is the organizer for this entire program, instructs me to do so. Yeah?
Sure, sir. I will have a word with her.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
let me know.
Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay.
All good.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Anu, anything that you want to ask, or it's like understandable, understood, or was up to the mark or expectations? Sure. Okay, so we'll stop for the session today. See you in the next session with another two concepts, and predominantly just to know what lies ahead in the next session. We'll start with MIS in a digital environment, how management information systems typically in a digital environment are getting transformed, and another aspect about total productivity maintenance. So these two we will cover in the next session, and thereafter the next session we will cover the TQM, that is total quality management and data envelopment analysis. Right? So we can sign off now, and see you in the next session. Thanks Rakesh and thanks Anu.
Sure, sir.
See you in the next
Thank you so
session.
much, sir.
Thank you.